Hello all, and we're gonna do some AEW talk. I hadn't done either review this week, so we will do both reviews and talk about both Dark and Dynamite. So let's start with everybody's favorite Dark. Yeah. So I will say this: I have complained, I think 2 weeks in a row, that the shows have been long, and as the shows have been long, there needs to be more promos because there were no promos. This week we at least got 3 promos, so that was something. The wrestling was good, I would say. I mean, for what they are. I mean, you had a lot of okay stuff even for the squash matches, which is fine. I don't think there was anything like outstanding though. I don't think there was anything like good. Even though you had stuff that probably should have been. I take it back. You had the Jurassic Express versus Dark Order. I had high hopes for Chaos Effect versus Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, which was okay. It wasn't bad. It was pretty good, but there was just nothing spectacular on the show. And again, an hour and a half. You had maybe a minute and a half of promos. That's not enough. You really need like people beating people and then promos, or before the matches you have both people cut promos or something like that. You need more of that on the show to fill space because there's not enough stuff. There are not enough places. I'm sorry. There's not enough time filler on the show, and so all you're getting is like lots of wrestling, which is fine, but it's a bunch of squash matches. So it's like, really? And I mean, that would be fine in like WWE 1987, but it's not okay here. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of this. Like I said, because even if you went back and you watched like Prime Time, you would get like the promos to go along with everything else. It wasn't just like what was Prime Time, 2 hours I think of wrestling, and so yeah, it's just like not okay. I would much rather this show be more geared towards like the old Top Set Sports TBS show, where you had your squash matches, maybe you had some competitive matches, but you had lots of promos and you had lots of other stuff. And yes, this is the B show, and yes, there's a lot of let's get people who are an experienced show. But even with all that, but the show was better with the promos, so I have to give them credit. Even though I think like the main event, I think could have been better, and it was okay, but it wasn't like anything like amazing. And they did progress some storylines. Like you can definitely see, if you watch this and then you watched AEW Dynamite and you watched this thing with Chaos Effect and Jericho and Hager, you definitely saw kind of where they were going there. You definitely see that that it's not like, oh, we're on Dark and we're just gonna forget everything. There's definitely like storylines going on, and you had storylines just for Dark. So, and I'm fine with that. But it was still just okay. It was a chore to get through. Still, I think the show is too long. Unless you're just gonna give me lots of promos. Like I don't want to say lots of promos, but you're gonna give me a lot more promos. Then I think it's better because you like Ryzin is a good example. I would like to see more of him. I would like to see him. Like I think I know what his character is, but I'm not for sure what his character is. So that would be like kind of good. But anyways, so that was Dark. It was like I said, the Jurassic Express versus Dark Order match was good. Everything else was passable. It was. I saw some people say that they thought the wrestling was a little bit down this week. I actually liked the wrestling a little bit more this week. But the promos were really, like, I was like, oh, wow, there's a promo. Oh, wow, there's 2 promos. Oh, wow, there's 3 promos. We still need more promos, but it was definitely, like, a thing. Then we had Dynamite, and Dynamite I thought was really good. You had a lot of really good matches. My biggest kind of complaint, I have, like some little nitpicks. And, like, my other thing with Dark, and this is kind of a theme with AEW, is they have matches with people, and I just don't like the way the matches are constructed. A really good example of that would be like Orange Cassidy versus 10, which was primarily a squash, kind of, except that Orange Cassidy basically just got beat up the whole match and then just made a babyface comeback. And to me, I think Orange Cassidy is better when he's like outsmarting the heels and doing his gimmick and just kind of making fun, especially in a match like this where you definitely do that, and they did not do that, and that kind of bugged me. But Darby Allin versus Ricky Starks was really good. I should say with Dark, Ricky Starks was on commentary, but it was just Starks and Excalibur and Taz. My thing with Dark is I feel like because Excalibur is more like the Excalibur I don't like. He's not fully that, but he's more. There's more of that. It brings a weird dynamic to it because then Taz starts acting goofy, and I felt like Starks is very entertaining, and Starks like the stuff that he does add to the commentary is really good, but he's also just kind of feels like he's just kind of there, and he's not like part of the commentary team. And I know he's a wrestler, and so that's not necessarily the case, but it's like he's there for the majority of the show, and it was just kind of this like, man. But we had Darby Allin versus Ricky Starks. This was really, really good. I wish it could have went a little longer, but I really like this match. I think it's kind of like you forget Darby Allin sometimes, and then they like pop you back, and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's like got it, and then you're kind of like, makes me wonder why he did the whole like magic gimmick, and never mind. We're not even gonna talk about that. Then we also had the other thing that I really kind of, this is a nitpicky thing, when Cody came out for his promo, it's kind of nitpicky from like last week too, because when he made his like return, I felt the video package was a little too long. I felt like the video package was a little too long here too. This isn't like a pay-per-view. This isn't like him debuting. This isn't like any of that. This is just him being him. So why does he need like the extended version of his entrance? I get he's like one of the main people, but nobody else does. So it kind of bugged that kind of bugged me. I thought his promo was good. Dog collar matches they're either really good or they're horrible. Normally they're horrible, but when they're good, they're like really good to great. I'm sure both of these guys want to go out there and like really kill it. So looking forward to that. So yeah. You had FTR versus SCU. This was great. I love this match. This was like it's just like so good, so good. You can definitely tell the difference when FTR is in there with like an experienced team versus a team that maybe doesn't have as much experience. This was definitely there. And of course, they continued the whole FTR best friends thing, and then you had the Young Bucks kind of thrown in there as well. So I'm wondering if they're trying to do a double turn or whatever they're trying to do. I don't know, but it was really good. The whole MJF and Chris Jericho thing, I really think that they're gonna that we're gonna get a feud with them, and it's gonna be really good, and it's gonna be funny, and I think it's gonna be like a lot of fun. I just sense that that's where we're going with that. It was, that segment was really good, but the Chris Jericho, which happened before, versus Isiah Cassidy match was really good as well. This is one of those matches where you can just see how great Chris Jericho is, and the fact that Chris Jericho was willing to make some of these guys, because I really felt like that's kind of what happened here. So that was really good. The Britt Baker Red Velvet match, and Red Velvet kind of annoys me with her whole like stirring thing. I get what it's supposed to be, but yeah, it just comes off weird. But it was basically a squash. And then Jon Moxley versus the Butcher, which my problem with it, and I kind of get it, because they announced that there's going to be a tournament, and then at the finals of the tournament will be at the pay-per-view, and I'm guessing, because I would think they already announced that Phoenix was going to be in the tournament, and I was like, oh well, okay, but they didn't announce Penta, and I would think that Penta would be in this match, but I'm guessing he's going to be in the tournament, which is why they didn't put him in this match. Though I do think that the tournament's simply going to be, we're going to get at some point during that tournament, Kenny Omega versus Adam Page. So I would think that's what we would get. I would think. who knows? But anyways, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that. Again, if we can get more promos, I think Dark would be so much better and would be so much easier to watch. But that is that. So yeah, so there are my reviews of that. I will be back at some point. Don't know when. Was much busier this weekend than I thought I would be, but we'll see. Anyways,